We tend to equate confidence with volume, but the most secure person in a room is often the one standing perfectly still. While insecurity demands attention through noise, true confidence operates in silence. Modern culture celebrates a specific brand of extroverted bravado, the person who always has the loudest laugh or the boldest claim. But that is an archetype, not an internal state. Real self-belief doesn't need to perform. It simply exists as a quiet internal backup for your actions. When we believe confidence is a fixed trait we're either born with or denied, we start to view our hesitation as a permanent flaw. This creates the spotlight effect, where we imagine every minor stumble is being broadcast to a judging audience, leading to a paralysis where we only act if we can guarantee perfection. Chasing that loud version of bravery doesn't actually remove our fear. It just adds the extra burden of having to hide it, trapping us in a cycle of constant social performance. To find a way out of that cycle, we have to compare how confidence actually functions against its most common disguise: arrogance. Arrogance functions as a defensive shield. It relies on an exaggerated self-image and a refusal to accept feedback because its foundation is actually rooted in insecurity. It needs to be seen as superior to feel safe. Genuine confidence works differently. It is built on self-awareness and a realistic assessment of what you can actually do. Because it's based on competence rather than an image, it welcomes feedback as a tool for improvement. Once we understand that confidence is a byproduct of self-awareness and competence, it stops being a mysterious personality trait and becomes a skill we can systematically build. That skill is literally etched into the brain through repeated behavior. It isn't a feeling you wait for, it is a physical structure you build. Every time you take decisive action, you activate the striatum and prefrontal cortex, creating a loop that reinforces behavior. This is neuroplasticity. Facing challenges physically rewires your brain, making the action feel more natural and less stressful next time. Of course, the brain adapts to whatever we feed it. If we prioritize negative self-talk and avoid challenges, we reinforce the neural pathways that prioritize doubt and retreat. We have the biological capacity to choose which of these pathways to strengthen. We can manufacture our own courage through the actions we take today. Building that neurological foundation requires 4 specific behavioral inputs. It starts with preparation, gathering the knowledge and practice that reduces the unknown. This is combined with a positive identity, where you root your self-worth in your internal values rather than the changing opinions of others. Then comes courageous action. This is where you use small wins to build momentum, proving to your brain through tiny, successful repetitions that you are capable of handling the task. The final input is resilience, the cognitive shift where you stop viewing failure as a defeat and start viewing it as the data you need to adjust your next attempt. These 4 behaviors work like an engine, taking the energy that usually goes toward anxiety and converting it into a steady sense of capability. This neurological engine is the same system the mind uses to navigate its most difficult experiences. Alicia Doyle used the process of objective self-discovery to confront a legacy of resentment, while Shelley Verma used the tangible small wins of physical training to dismantle a lifetime of body image insecurity. They weren't just practicing a technique, they were retraining their brain's response to old wounds. This same self-trust becomes a primary survival tool in a crisis. When Nancy Cohen faced a sudden cancer diagnosis, she relied on these same mechanics of preparation and resilience to manage the shock and navigate recovery. Whether the challenge is a professional presentation or a personal crisis, the biological process of managing the unknown remains the same. You can influence this internal state through your external physiology. Adopting expansive, open postures signals to the brain that you are in a safe, dominant position, which naturally reduces the production of stress hormones. To bridge the gap between thinking and acting, use the 5-second rule. By counting down and moving your body before your mind can invent a reason to hesitate, you bypass the cognitive distortions that lead to procrastination. This cycle creates a path for continuous growth. You prepare by acquiring knowledge, you believe through visualization, you act before you feel fully ready, you reflect on the outcome, and then you grow by integrating what you've learned. By forcing the physical action first, you provide your brain with the evidence it needs to begin the next cycle with more confidence than the last. The goal is an equilibrium called power with purpose. It is the point where you are fully aware of your own value, but that value is balanced by a quiet humility. At this level of security, you no longer feel the need to boast. You can celebrate the success of others and remain curious about what you still have to learn. Start the practice tomorrow. Log 3 small victories, hold a power pose for 2 minutes, and commit to one task that feels slightly beyond your current comfort zone. When you hear yourself say, "I can't do this," reframe it immediately. Focus on the single next step you can take. Confidence isn't about knowing you will succeed. It's knowing that you have the internal system required to try. The practice begins with the first step.